All right, we are going to do another example of working on some proofs. We're trying to prove these triangles congruent. So you are not going to be required to do a full, complete proof on your own in this particular class, but you will have to fill in missing statements or missing reasons, and you're going to have to use your logic to try to get the correct answer. Our first step is always to label the picture given. And so I'm going to label the picture based on what the given information is. They said that the lines here are congruent. So what lines are these? Line BC is congruent to CD. Because they are congruent, I'm going to label them with little tick marks like so we can kind of visually see what's happening. Now let's label our next given. Our next given says that BAC is congruent to DEC. So to label that in our picture, we use arcs to show that angles are congruent. So this angle should be congruent to that one. Now let's go ahead and start our proof here. We always start with the given information. So BC is congruent to DC. That's because that's information that was already given to us. Angle BAC is congruent to angle DEC, also because that was given to us. Now this is the hard part. This is where we have to come up with our own statements. And it's not because it's given. We have to come up with our own in this example. Let's use our logic. Let's remember things we've learned in the past to fill in this next space. Well, if you look at the picture, we notice that the two triangles are touching at one point. If I were to highlight line BE and line DA, you could see that they form an X. What angles are formed when two lines intersect and form an X? Well, we call these vertical angles. And what do we know about vertical angles? Vertical angles, we learned in the past that they are equal to each other. They are congruent. So we can say, based on this, we can therefore say that these two angles must be the same measure. So that's going to be my next statement. I'm going to say that angle BCA is congruent to, and must be congruent to DCE because of vertical angles, because they're vertical angles, and vertical angles are congruent. Now remember, we need to have three things to prove triangles congruent, and there's several different ways that we can prove triangles congruent. We can prove triangles through the SSS theorem, SAS, AAS, ASA, and the HL properties. So which one of these is it going to be? Well, one of the ways we can do this is to label our statements with whether it's a side or an angle. So for example, the first one is a side, it's line segment BC, and the last two are angles, right? So that means that our answer is going to be either this one or this one because these two both have angles. So because we need to figure out the order, we have to label our picture. So let's go ahead and label our picture with what we have so far. We can say this is a side, this is an angle, and this is an angle. Now, what direction are we going to go? Well, make sure you don't skip a side. So we can't go this direction, wrong, right? We are skipping that side, so we can't go that direction. We can't skip a side. So instead, we're going to go the other direction. So we're going to go from S to A to A. So the order would be SAA or AAS. This is the one that we would be using. And so therefore, that would be our correct answer. We are done. We have proven the triangles to be congruent. Triangle ABC is congruent to triangle EDC because we have found that we have two angles that are congruent to each other and a side. specifically in the order of AAS. So we're going to say because of the angle side theorem, we can say that these triangles are congruent. Okay, have fun developing your logic. Have fun with the content. See you in the next video.